DA, how we doing? It's Christmas morning.
I know, baby. I'm doing great. I'm so fired up. And we began the show talking about the John Calipari rumors in UCLA. Cal struck them down last night via Twitter. My question to you is this. Is UCLA a better job than Kentucky?
No, not in 2019. Not at all. I think that a lot of that is because of what John Calipari has done at Kentucky. And so I would compare that to, think about Nick Saban at Alabama, where part of the calculus in leaving is I had such a role in building this up into what it is, and so much of my own sweat equity went into this level of success and this machine that has been built and has allowed for so many pros to walk through these doors, and it becomes, something that almost sort of self-stocks just year after year after year. Why would you go to UCLA where the expectations are still set back in the 1960s and the 1970s when the results haven't been there in the last couple decades? If I'm John Calipari, at this point in my career, I no way, after turning down NBA offers, after turning down other, inquiries from across the land, I don't think there's any part of him that would want to walk out on what he has spent. I mean, think about it. He's been there, about 10 years?
Yeah.
He's spent a long time trying to build this thing up. And so I don't see, especially as he's looking at a team that, for my money, can win a national championship, I just don't think that this would be the time to walk out.
Yeah, he also spent a long time trying to break into the Millionaires Club, if you will, trying to get into a blue blood program. He finally did that. Why would he leave right now? It's funny how Cal's career has evolved. He was a renegade. He was recruiting one-and-dones. Guys like Coach K wagged his finger at him, and now Coach K is the beneficiary of all these great one-and-dones. Kind of ironic how that happened, especially at Duke, isn't it?
Well, I like John I've come full circle on John Calipari. And I think that he's had a lot of growth during his time at Kentucky, and as he sort of settled into that blue blood role. And yes, he started trying to, kick things down and break them. But now I think he knows that he speaks with a voice of authority. And I think the Kentucky basketball program has, in general, done more good than harm. And if it's made Duke and other programs decide that they want to change their ways, then that only speaks to the influence that he has. And by the way, that's not influence that John Calipari would have at UCLA, because the Pac-12, in terms of basketball, doesn't have any influence over the college basketball landscape right now.
Chip Patterson joins us from CBS Sports. Some believe Gonzaga is a Final Four lock. Others are totally doubting the Zags. Where do you fall on Gonzaga?
Somewhere in between, in that I think Gonzaga can win a national championship, but I think that Gonzaga caught an incredibly difficult draw for a team that, yes, you have the Tennessee, North Carolina, Duke. Gonzaga has gone up against quality opponents during this season, so it's not like they are untested, but they are way more familiar with the kind of basketball games that they're going to get in the 116 matchup than what they're going to get even starting in the second round, because whether it's Syracuse or Baylor, two good zone defense teams, Syracuse, maybe a little bit less threatening now without Frank Howard in the lineup, but, starting in the second round, then the Sweet 16, you've got potential matchups against Florida State, the team that bounced them a year ago. Florida State has, since the late January, only lost to Carolina and Duke. They are on fire right now. I saw the Seminoles in Charlotte. They are deep. They are athletic. They don't have one star, but they've got about 9 guys that can make your life really, really difficult. I could see Florida State taking down Gonzaga. And then all of a sudden you get to the Elite Eight. I just think that whole West region has so many potential teams. Buffalo, Texas Tech, certainly Michigan. Gonzaga just has too many teams that when I put them on a neutral court in an NCAA tournament scenario, I could see them getting bounced. So Gonzaga's not in my Final Four, but I want to circle back to the first point. I don't think Gonzaga is a lock for the Final Four, but Gonzaga can go all the way. Gonzaga can cut down the nets. And here's my X factor for Gonzaga. We love Rui Hachimura. We love Brandon Clark. But those are the two big guys. And what do you need in the NCAA tournament? You need elite guard play. Gonzaga plays positionless basketball. I hear you. but Josh Perkins has got to be better. That's the X factor. If Gonzaga is going to win it all, Josh Perkins has to have an elite NCAA tournament.
Chip Patterson joins us from CBS Sports to break down the brackets. Help me make sense of the South region, because I look at the top 4 seeds, and I don't like any of them. Virginia, we know their early exits in the tournament before. Number 2, Tennessee gets whacked in the SEC championship game. Number 3 seed, Purdue, I don't love. And the 4 seed, the Kansas State Wildcats, are missing their best player in Dean Wade. So what do I do with the top 4 seeds in that region?
I think you scratch 3 and 4. I think your hunch is right. Carson Edwards and the Carson Edwardses, as that Purdue team is he's just kind of carrying that team on his back. He can carry them far. He can't carry them all the way to the Final Four, in my opinion. And then you're right, with Kansas State without Dean Wade, great defensive team still, but, man, I don't know who gets buckets for you if Dean Wade's not on the floor. The offense kind of rolls through him. But I'm not gonna give up hope on Virginia and Tennessee. But I will say that if you drop another seed line or two, that's one of my bold predictions for the NCAA tournament. Sure to blow up in my face, of course, here in this first 48 hours. But I'm taking a big bet on Jay Wright. I think that Villanova can get to the Final Four. I think that this is a team with Phil Booth and Eric Paschal and good talent, Colin Gillespie. Jay Wright is an excellent, elite coach. He's had to tinker with this team. He's had to change the lineups and the rotations. He's been like a mad scientist trying to figure out why this Villanova team is underperforming its talent. And so what I'm calling it on CBS Sports HQ and when we're explaining it is that it's my 2014 UConn or my 2016 Syracuse play. The idea that, yes, your seed line indicates like this is some incredible upset or great run, but when you take a step back, you think, well, I don't know, that's a national championship winning program with an excellent coach and excellent talent. So while Villanova might have a 6 by its name, if it's playing deep into this tournament, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, I don't think we should be that surprised because it's Jay Wright and Villanova, one of the modern powers of college basketball.
I like that comp to one of those UConn teams. It's funny, Villanova, bad team this year, down year for the Wildcats. They're not going to do anything. And then suddenly they're Big East regular season champs and Big East tournament champs, right? And they only get a 6 seed. So I'm with you. I'm wondering, boy, are we totally underrating Villanova because the narrative all season was that they were no good, but when it mattered most, they got it done?
Right. And, this is where I also say, of course, as I take a big swing on Villanova, advancing them to my Final Four. By the way, CBSSports.com/showdown, if you want to join a bracket competition against myself and other CBSSports.com writers, I will be looking like an idiot in the CBSSports.com bracket showdown if St. Mary's wins this game. And for, Villanova no-shows, they turn in one of those mid-January performances where it was just a total clunker. But I am going on the other side. I'm believing in Phil Booth. I'm believing in Jay Wright. And I'm believing in a program that has just played so many significant high-level NCAA tournament games. I just think there's a March culture to that program where I'm going to believe that they can at least get out of the first weekend.
Before I let you go, what's your best bet on a Cinderella in this year's tourney?
I mean, it's too trendy, but I'm still riding Belmont. I like part of it is the bracket, the way it broke. I knew that I was going to be fading Maryland off the top because Maryland was really, really good at home and really, really not so good away from home. And Anthony Cowan has never really lived up to the expectations. So when Belmont fell in line there, big Rick Byrd fan, big Dylan Windler fan. They got Nick Mazinski, the Moose, back in the lineup in the first 4. And I think that, you might be able to catch LSU on the second spot. I'm not big on Yale. I think that LSU is going to have its full attention for Game 1. I'm just worried about the absence of Will Wade in Game 2 when you've had a little bit of time to just sit around the hotel, a lot of downtime, your focus starts to lapse. I think that second game, if we get Belmont LSU, I think that's where we see an 11 seed get to the Sweet 16.
The Moose is on fire. Chip Patterson joins us this morning on the show from CBS Sports. As you heard from him, you can play against CBS Sports experts in their bracket showdown. Go to CBSSports.com and check out the bracket challenge. Chip Patterson, one of those experts. You can play alongside Seth Davis, Wally Zerbiak, Gary Parrish, Danny Cannell, Rasha Bell, and others. Chip, this was great, man. This was a lot of fun. Let's do it again later on in the tournament. Okay, bud?